If you stumbled upon some of the glossy websites promoting wingsuit flying, you might easily get the impression that it's safer than bungee jumping or even skiing. They showcase unbelievable feats. For instance, in 2017, Fred Fugan and Vince Raffet launched themselves from the soaring Jungfrau Mountain in the Swiss Alps and, astonishingly, landed inside a moving Pilatus Porter aircraft mid-flight. Another remarkable tale features the Italian wingsuit icon, Robert Menino, who successfully navigated his suit through a tight gap between two office towers in bustling Panama City back in 2015. These accounts are undoubtedly jaw-dropping, and they're used by specialized companies to seduce thrill-seekers with the promise of conquering the skies in style. Yet what they seldom mention is the stark reality. For every triumphant glide among the clouds, there are far too many flyers who never return to the ground safely. It's easy to be transfixed by the thrill of slicing through the air at near-terminal velocity, until you come face to face with how ruthlessly unforgiving this sport can be. Viewer discretion is always advised because behind every adrenaline-fueled flight, danger lurks in the slightest miscalculation. Eric dos Santos, a brush with death in the French Alps. Among the ever-growing library of viral wingsuit footage, the video of Eric dos Santos stands out for capturing an absolutely heart-stopping incident that nearly ended in tragedy. On September 29, 2016, Eric, a seasoned wingsuit pilot, embarked on what was supposed to be just another everyday jump in the picturesque French Alps. Initially, his helmet camera shows a calm scene, clear skies, snow-capped peaks, and Eric bidding a nonchalant farewell before hurling himself into the open air. He had no inkling of just how quickly an ordinary flight could veer off course. Moments into the jump, he soared over rugged cliffs and breathtaking valleys. From his vantage point, the scenery looked like an amusement park ride. Steep dives, hair-raising passes, and a lush green forest sprawling below. For nearly a minute, it was an iconic vision of man melding with nature, his shadow dancing across the treetops. But 51 seconds in, everything changed. Without warning, Eric began plummeting at an alarming rate. This ordinary jump snapped into a terrifying freefall. The recorded footage shows his frantic efforts as he skims the treetops at over 90 miles per hour, rapidly losing control. Then comes the dire moment. He crashes straight into a treetop at high speed. The camera goes dark, capturing only the haunting second before impact. Miraculously, Eric survived, but he paid an enormous price. Broken ribs, a fractured collarbone, damage to his shoulder blade and left shoulder, head trauma, a cut liver, and more. He even needed hyperbaric oxygen therapy to help mend his head injuries. Incredibly, Eric became one of only 2 people on record to survive a full-speed wingsuit collision without deploying a parachute. That near-fatal moment underscores a cruel truth. The line between a flawless adventure and a potentially lethal mishap is razor-thin. Although it might look like an elegant dance, gliding through the air, arms outstretched, wingsuit flying is extraordinarily demanding. The suit itself is made with a flexible nylon membrane that spans between the arms, legs, and torso, effectively transforming the human body into something akin to a bird's wing or a bat's frame. Enthusiasts often pair wingsuit jumps with base jumping techniques, leaping from natural heights or tall structures rather than from planes. After the initial jump, wingsuit pilots rely on subtle body shifts, raising an arm a little, straightening a leg to steer. Once they finish the glide phase, they deploy a small parachute to land safely. It sounds almost graceful, yet mastering a wingsuit is another story. Perfecting the balance between forward motion and lift can stump even highly skilled skydivers. Small misjudgments, like leaning a bit too far in one direction or timing a turn poorly, can send a wingsuiter spiraling out of control. This steep learning curve has led to countless accidents, proving that success in wingsuit flying demands relentless training, acute spatial awareness, and the humility to respect nature's unpredictability. Despite advanced techniques, even expert jumpers regularly confront challenges that can escalate into life-threatening incidents with just a fraction of a second's error. The Amy Jean Street Hillair incident, a high-speed mid-air collision. Not every story in the wingsuit universe boasts a miraculous outcome. One of the bleakest examples occurred in 2018, involving Amy Jean St. Hillair, a 27-year-old elite jumper from Canada. He was part of the renowned Wide Open Wingsuit series, an elite competition that draws the best wingsuit pilots to race through the skies, wearing suits optimized for speed and agility. On that ill-fated day, Amy Jean leaped in tandem with another jumper. According to a competition host, there was a fleeting moment of confusion just after they exited into freefall. The two jumpers lost sight of each other, briefly wobbled, and unfortunately collided. If they had been off by as little as a foot, the near miss would have been inconsequential. Instead, that tiny error snowballed into catastrophe. The force of the impact knocked Amy Jean unconscious, preventing him from deploying his parachute. He plummeted at over 100 miles per hour, eventually slamming into the roof of a home in Riverside County, roughly 70 meters east of Los Angeles. The crash was so forceful that neither his experience, more than 1,000 jumps, nor his last-second emergency chute deployment could save him. In many respects, this story illustrates the most harrowing aspect of wingsuit flying. Losing control mid-flight can be a death sentence, with practically no margin for rescue or self-correction. Skill and experience instantly become meaningless. Once a wingsuit pilot blacks out or loses orientation, their survival hinges on luck, altitude, wind, surrounding terrain, and sheer chance. In Amy Jean's case, being knocked unconscious sealed his fate before he even hit the ground. The heartbreak is that such a minor difference, just a foot or two, could have averted the collision altogether. Nicholas G. A deadly encounter with a descending aircraft. Some accidents in wingsuit flying hinge on more than just personal decisions or random collisions between jumpers. Consider the bizarre tragedy involving 40-year-old Nicholas G. on July 27, 2018, in the skies over Boulac-en-Kiri, France. Nicholas, a well-known wingsuit diver, had jumped from a single-engine Pilatus plane at 14,000 feet, a routine procedure, and one he had executed numerous times before. Conditions seemed ideal: clear skies, stable altitude, and ample space to maneuver. Unbeknownst to Nicholas, the pilot of the Pilatus had begun a rapid descent to pick up more jumpers, and neither party realized how dangerously close they were. Within 20 seconds of Nicholas's departure from the plane, he collided mid-air with the very aircraft he had just jumped out of. It was a forceful, fatal impact. Striking the wing at such high speed left him with no chance to survive. The aftermath revealed glaring red flags. The pilot lacked a valid license, and no thorough pre-jump briefing had been conducted with the skydivers. Whether Nicholas veered off his intended route or the pilot descended incorrectly became a heated point of contention. In the ensuing court trial, prosecutors zeroed in on the pilot's negligence. Although the pilot maintained that Nicholas had deviated from the planned flight path, the court ruled otherwise, citing the pilot's invalid license and mishandled descent. This negligence led to a 12-month suspended manslaughter sentence and a 1-year ban from flying. Tragically, Nicholas's death was part of a grim statistic. He was just one of 23 people claimed by base jumping in 2018 alone. Ula Manu, a visionary who pushed the limits until they gave way. For some thrill seekers, wingsuit flying isn't just about the adrenaline rush. It's an almost artistic pursuit where the human body and precision engineering fuse to achieve flight. Perhaps no one embodied this ethos more than Ula Manu. He was renowned for his daring leaps, each planned down to the smallest detail. One of his most iconic feats saw him navigate through a cave opening no more than 6.5 meters wide in Lohr-Brunnen, Switzerland, an audacious act that demanded inch-perfect control. A single miscalculation could have slammed him against unforgiving rock walls. That jump, captured on his GoPro, has since gained over 1 million views on YouTube, testament to his staggering skill and fearless spirit. But Ula Manu wasn't content to rest on past accomplishments. In August 2016, he staged an audacious stunt in the Italian Alps, flying through a ring of fire suspended mid-air. Relying on a team of friends who hauled a metal rig to a lofty perch, he soared with uncanny grace straight through the flaming circle. This appetite for doing what no one else would dare was part of his signature style. Tragically, it was this same drive that led to his final and fatal jump in the Dolomites. On one of his routine leaps in 2016, he attempted a route through a notoriously narrow rock formation, convinced his unparalleled skill would see him through. For most of the flight, everything was textbook perfection. His GoPro footage showed him carving the sky with masterful control. Then, in a single misjudged maneuver, he drifted too close to the rock face and lost control. Before he could deploy his parachute, Ula Manu collided with the mountain at high speed. It was an impact no one could survive. Wingsuit flying, with its promise of near superhuman freedom, continues to entice those eager to dance with gravity. It's not hard to see the appeal. Soaring like a bird, hugging cliffs, threading through natural arches, and feeling an indescribable rush of speed. Yet time and again, these stories, from miraculous survivals like Eric dos Santos to devastating collisions like Amy Jean St. Hillair or Nicholas G., remind us how perilous this sport truly is. Even the most precise, highly trained athlete can be undone by a stray gust of wind, a split-second miscalculation, or a collision that unfolds in the blink of an eye. Promoters of extreme sports often trumpet the highs, literally and figuratively, while glossing over the terrifying lows. The sobering truth is that when something goes wrong at 100 miles per hour, skill, experience, and safety gear provide no guarantees. While many find wingsuit flying to be the pinnacle of aerial adventure, it demands profound respect for what's at stake. For a lucky few, a collision or close call becomes an unbelievable survival tale. For others, unfortunately, the quest for the ultimate rush claims a permanent toll. A mysterious crash in Moab. If you think that single or even group tragedies might deter people from pushing the limits, consider the story of Richard Puser, a veteran base jumping instructor whose life ended under circumstances still shrouded in uncertainty. This event, which took place on January 7, 2020, involved a spot aptly named Super Gorgeous in Moab, Utah. The location overlooks Castle Valley near the Colorado River, prized among adrenaline junkies for its dramatic cliffs and sweeping vistas. Seasoned wingsuit and base jumpers frequent it for the striking blend of natural beauty and daunting terrain. Richard brought an extensive background to the table, 2 decades of skydiving experience, and 14 solid years of base jumping in destinations ranging from the valleys of Los Angeles to the mountains of Jiangaj, China. With his wife, he had co-founded Apex Base, a company dedicated to base jumping equipment and lessons, a testament to how deeply he was invested in the sport. On that fateful morning in Moab, he planned a proximity flight alongside a friend. Proximity flying adds another layer of danger to an already extreme pursuit, requiring you to glide extremely close to cliffs, ledges, and other rock formations. This approach demands both intimate knowledge of the landscape and split-second precision, qualities Richard was known for. As the sun lit the towering red rocks, Richard jumped with his signature confidence. Only minutes into the flight, something went terribly wrong. The exact cause remains unknown, because local authorities never disclosed the precise details. What is certain is that a satellite messaging device Richard carried registered a high-impact collision, automatically sending out an SOS alert. His friend, still waiting at the top of the cliff, quickly did the same from another device. Rescue teams rushed to the area, eventually locating Richard roughly 1,000 feet below his initial jump point and about 700 feet above the Colorado River. Lying on a steep talus slope, he was pronounced dead at the scene, most likely the victim of a collision with the rock face. Precisely what unfolded between takeoff and impact will forever remain a mystery, sealed with the silence of the sport's inherent risk. These stories might be the stuff of nightmares for many, but in the wingsuit and base jumping community, they serve as sobering lessons and a reminder of the razor-thin line between incredible triumph and tragedy. According to compiled data, there's approximately 1 fatal incident for every 600 wingsuit base jumping flights, a stark contrast to traditional skydiving, which has around 5 deaths per 100,000 jumps. Although wingsuit flying is not for the faint of heart, the dangers are sometimes compared to the everyday perils of driving a car. After all, roughly 1 in 147 car accidents results in a fatality. Still, the allure remains undeniable. People see footage of wingsuit flyers weaving through canyons or zooming across valleys, and despite knowing the high stakes, long to experience that sense of human flight firsthand. It is an uncommon blend of technical mastery, adrenaline, and an almost spiritual connection to nature's contours. Even horrific outcomes do not deter the most dedicated from suiting up again, launching themselves from dizzying heights and trusting their skills to cheat death one more time. A trio's tragic journey in Switzerland. On April 23, 2014, 3 of the most renowned wingsuit flyers in the extreme sports world, Dan Vieri, Ludic Worth, and Brian Drake, took off in a helicopter above the majestic Luchental Valley in Switzerland. This valley, famous for its sweeping mountain views and dramatic elevation changes, served as the ideal backdrop for their daring adventure. The three were no novices. Each possessed a wealth of experience, earned through countless flights that had honed their instincts and reflexes to a razor's edge. Their plan was to execute an ambitious proximity flight, riding a steep flight path just above a ridge to harness maximum adrenaline. For wingsuit flyers, this tactic demands immaculate precision, since there's almost no margin for error when you're skimming so close to jagged rock faces. However, adrenaline can be a tricky companion. Their chosen route promised an incredible visual spectacle, but it also exposed them to those significant risks. The trio aimed to soar over a steep ridge that would open up into a terrain better suited for controlled landings. Instead, they inadvertently circled around the ridge and found themselves stuck with flat ground stretched out below, dangerous for flyers who rely on descending slopes to generate the speed and lift essential for maintaining control. Realizing the critical misjudgment, they attempted a sharp left turn to reach a more suitable area that had been hidden from view just moments earlier. Tragically, their efforts to recover took them too close to the ground far too quickly. Within the blink of an eye, the three men were at perilously low altitude. Dan Vieri and Ludic Worth were fewer than 35 feet away from the relative safety of a more gradual slope. But their wingsuits offered no second chances at such short range. Both men had a catastrophic landing and did not survive. Brian Drake, whose path was only slightly different, missed the safer stretch of land by roughly 10 feet. Though he initially clung to life, he passed away 4 days later from his injuries. For a sport that has long been recognized for its lethal risks, news of this triple fatality stunned the entire wingsuit community. Many considered it one of the most heartbreaking reminders of just how unforgiving this pursuit can be, even for the best and most experienced. And yet, paradoxically, the thrill continues to lure new enthusiasts and old pros alike. Despite the grim loss, wingsuit flyers across the globe would soon be back on the mountains, chasing that sensation of floating through the sky in a marvel of human engineering and nerve. The appetite for speed, proximity, and that unique rush seems boundless, even with the knowledge that one small misjudgment can be an irreversible mistake. Amateradio.